The day the year began, on 1st of January, India declared 2025 to be the year of reforms in the defence sector. The central government promised to focus on the modernizing of the armed forces and establishing integrated theatre commands. For Prime Minister Modi and his administration, it was not just defence that was central to governance. As the year progressed, there was significant focus on the economy. The budget highlighted growth in tech, infra, and MSMEs. There was all-round hope that there would be significant GDP growth. And the backdrop to it all, a more than usual posturing and maneuvering for political advantage, both in the domestic as well as the international arena. In retrospect, all the knotted strings that maintain balance seem intertwined one with the other, And the only way to gain a picture of what was achieved or was lost comes through reflections. To put into perspective the year that was 2025.
भारत माता की श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जिंदाबाद मोदी मोदी
For the BJP, the year began with a bang. Delhi was a citadel that the party needed to capture. It was a personal blot on the charisma of the BJP's biggest vote gatherer, who since the time he swept India off its feet and Bharat into his fold, all the way back in 2014, had failed to win Delhi. The Sultanate of Delhi had obstinately refused to be party to a BJP government. That anomaly got saffron-washed in 2025.
मोदी मोदी मोदी
The year 2025 was a year of political recovery and consolidation for the BJP. After its weaker than expected performance in 2024 Lok Sabha elections, there were several doubts on the party's organizational strength and coordination abilities. But those doubts largely faded away by the end of the year when the party carried forward its wins in Haryana and Maharashtra Assembly elections to resounding victories in New Delhi and Bihar Assembly elections. Now this has infused a lot of confidence in the BJP NDA cadre, but has also strengthened the position of the BJP in national politics.
The win in Delhi carried strong symbolic value. The BJP returned to power in the national capital after 30 years, ending a decade of AAP rule and reclaiming a space that they thought had become a center of anti-BJP politics. As the year was drawing to a close, not just another win in Bihar, but a bigger than expected total erased doubts as to who sat in the driving seat of Bihar's leading coalition. The strong NDA mandate once again put Nitish Kumar in the Chief Minister's chair for a record 10th term, highlighting the BJP's ability to manage alliances and dominate coalition politics. The national political mood through the year was shaped by confrontation, symbolism, and constant churn. The fallout of Operation Sindoor, India's cross-border military response to a major terror attack, dominated Parliament. The government spoke of strength and deterrence, while the opposition questioned the risk of escalation and the role of US President Donald Trump in the ceasefire. Electoral politics heated up further with the Special Intensive Revision of Electoral Rolls (SIR). The government described it as a cleanup of voter lists, while the opposition accused the Election Commission of acting in haste and deleting names unfairly. The issue became central to the Bihar campaign and has since spread to 12 states. The passage of the Waqf Amendment Act led to protests in Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, reopening debates on minority rights and constitutional intent. Symbolism remained important to the BJP's messaging. The Dhwaj ceremony at the Ayodhya Ram Temple marked the fulfillment of a key ideological promise. But governance challenges kept breaking through. A deadly air crash in Ahmedabad raised serious questions about aviation safety and regulation. Made worse by ongoing problems at Indigo that exposed weaknesses in the aviation system. Climate-related disasters, including floods in Uttarakhand, landslides in Himachal Pradesh, and worsening air pollution in Delhi, underlined gaps in disaster readiness and long-term planning.
आपको ठगा जा रहा है, हिंदुस्तान की जनता को ठगा जा रहा है, आपका वोट चोरी किया जा रहा है, इस संविधान पर आक्रमण किया जा रहा है.
The Congress tried to challenge the government through a vote chori campaign, but failed to make an electoral impact. Rahul Gandhi's 18-day yatra in Bihar did not change voter behavior, and the party won only 6 of the 61 seats it contested. The sudden mid-term exit of Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar due to health reasons added an element of surprise and political speculation to the year.
By the end of the year, the BJP appeared stronger than it was. But there are additional challenges ahead. There are important battles coming up in the states of West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. Only recently, the party also appointed 45-year-old Nitin Nabeen as its new working president, which means there's going to be a generational shift within the party. And this move also is being seen in contrast to the Congress model of leadership, where the party continues to be led by 84-year-old Mallikarjun Kharge and continues to rely on senior leaders such as Siddaramaiah and Ashok Gehlot.
As 2025 draws to a close, India is negotiating trade deals with the US and many other major economies. But the big highlight of 2025 was how the economy really touched everyday lives.
For Indian households, 2025 was more about money in hand, lower prices, cheaper loans, and steady spending power, even as the global economy slowed. India reported robust Q2 growth of 8.2%, the fastest in 6 quarters. Private consumption led the recovery, with families spending more on food, travel, housing, and discretionary items. Good monsoons lifted rural incomes, while urban demand remained resilient. This consumption revival reflected income tax relief, which exempted income up to 12 lakh rupees, leaving salaried taxpayers with higher disposable incomes.
This was coupled with one of the biggest reforms of the decade, GST cuts. Lower GST rates across key everyday goods and services made sure that prices reduced significantly for Indian households.
Inflation also emerged as one of the key positives of the year. Retail inflation fell to historic lows, touching 0.25% in October. Food prices cooled, supply improved, and GST cuts helped bring costs down. Cooling inflation gave RBI room to cut interest rates second time during the year, making loans cheaper and easing EMI burdens for households. However, a weaker rupee remained a concern, as it makes imports like fuel and electronics costlier, while adding pressure on overseas travel and education. Meanwhile, Indian equity markets delivered only modest gains in 2025. The Nifty 50 rose about 9% year to date, making India one of the weaker performing major stock markets globally this year. As 2026 looms, the challenge will be to sustain growth momentum amid external headwinds, keeping prices under control, jobs steady, and managing the growing impact of AI as it leaves an increasingly prominent mark on the economy.
(2025) has been one of the most consequential years for Indian foreign policy, one that tested New Delhi's long-held foreign policy doctrine of strategic autonomy, allowing it to maximize national interest without taking any sides, even as it put India at the very center of issues that humanity is facing: trade, tech, and climate.
– 2025 started with Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a visit to France, where India was the co-chair of the AI Action Summit. The visit laid emphasis on India's large digital public network being acknowledged as a possible model for global AI adoption, more so for developing nations. Also in focus was the proposal for a 6,400-kilometer India-Middle East-Europe corridor. The goal for the ambitious project, spanning energy, digital and maritime sectors, is not just to provide greater connectivity for Indian goods, but the corridor at full potential could even be a counter to China's Belt and Road Initiative.
First, you have to have fair and open access. And the question of access is of decisive importance. We need to have wide-ranging access, and we've seen this internationally with players from Asia-Pacific, Latin America, and other regions of the world. And we need to have access for all continents and all countries. And we've seen this with Prime Minister Modi. And we are all convinced that artificial intelligence will be an opportunity for us all to learn better, to have better healthcare, to have better work, and to have a better life within our societies. And this is a society of competition, innovation, and sovereignty. But this is a period, as I said, of innovation and acceleration.
The year 2025 has also been marked by a seesaw relationship between India and the US. President Donald Trump's repeated claims on mediating the India-Pakistan war during Operation Sindoor impacted the relationship. While the US President's mediation claims were repeatedly rejected by India, it did lead to a sudden and sharp downward spiral in bilateral ties. The US levied unfair tariffs as high as a whopping 50%, highest in the whole of Asia, on Indian imports. India in turn drew its own red lines in trade talks. Agriculture became a no-compromise zone. In diplomatic terms, it was understood that the US was adopting pressure tactics to arm twist India to stop importing oil and gas from Russia.
We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian oil, that is China. We are not the biggest purchasers of Russian LNG. I'm not sure, but I think that is the European Union.
Four days after an additional 25% tariffs targeted India, Delhi responded. Prime Minister Modi went to China. For the first time in 7 years since the Galwan Valley conflict between India and Chinese soldiers.
The leaders of India, Russia and China shaking hands and posing for the global media had a strong message. It meant that New Delhi has options. Even though the trust deficit in the Sino-Indian relationship remain and it gets plagued by the security concerns, the Prime Minister's visit to the SCO summit in China was a stark reminder that New Delhi has perfected the art of fine balance.
2025's biggest example of India's strategic autonomy was when New Delhi played host to Russian President Vladimir Putin. India rolled out the red carpet for President Putin just days after he rejected a Russia-Ukraine peace proposal promoted by the US President. And the optics of the two world leaders sharing a second car ride within a span of 3 months made global headlines. "2025 was a year which saw many a world leader making their way to New Delhi. India played host to UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Amir of Qatar, among others. The year was testimony to a multipolar world where India reiterated its position as a key voice of the global South.
In 2025, India was a country at war. Operation Sindoor defined the very best of the Indian military, being able to strike targets deep inside a terror state like Pakistan. But it wasn't just what India achieved, it's also how India achieved it, including an incredible trial by fire by some of India's most prized homegrown weapons. Atmanirbharta is a word that is used quite often, but during Operation Sindoor in 2025, Indian weapons designed, built and made here in India were used in anger for the first time.
India's defense strategy in recent years has been marked by a significant phase of military modernization, anchored by large-scale acquisitions. In 2025 too, there has been a strong focus on indigenous production and cutting-edge technologies. In terms of military doctrine, the country continues to incorporate elements of the cold start strategy, focusing on rapid, limited operations in regional conflicts, as was evident with Operation Sindoor. Defense remains an extension or in some scenarios, the backdrop to foreign policy. Assertive diplomacy paid dividends as India maintained its Global South leadership position.
Ethiopia sits at a crossroads of Africa. India stands at the heart of the Indian Ocean. We are natural partners. Our commitment to mutual security becomes stronger with the signing of the Defence Cooperation Agreement earlier this year.
The year 2025 not only saw the balancing of power rivalries between the US and Chinese shores, but the successful navigating of geopolitical complexities like energy security. A changing global order is offering India new opportunities to expand its influence. An opportunity that India grabbed wholeheartedly in 2025, setting the course for the years to come.